So we often get asked, what's the egg color and how does that impact the egg, or is there any kind of difference between a brown and a white egg? And the simple answer is that there is no real difference. What really actually determines the difference in your egg color is basically just its genetics. So if it's simply brown chicken tends to lay a brown egg, and a white chicken tends to lay a brown or a white egg. Also, people will oftentimes refer to the earlobe, and that's really just like the color of the chicken. It's just another indicator, basically. A red earlobe chicken will lay a brown egg, usually, and a white earlobe chicken will lay a white egg, usually. So that's kind of what the determiner and the indicators of your eggshell color are typically. So also then you'll kind of tend to notice that like there's sometimes a really deep dark brown colored egg, and then you'll have your paler eggs. So the usual reason for that is actually just the chicken getting older as it ages. It tends to lay a larger egg, but it's still using that same amount of pigments and stuff and putting that onto the same egg. So a larger egg, same amount of pigment, thus it's a paler colored egg. But you can also see some things like stress, and that kind of determines like how long it takes for that egg to pass through the body of the chicken, and that can impact how much pigmentation goes onto it. Also, with like free range and pasture raised chickens, the sunlight can actually impact it, although we actually don't really scientifically know why, but it just seems to. And then too, diseases can actually kind of impact the color of the egg. Sometimes that does not mean that every pill egg has a disease. It's just sometimes that can have impacts. So then other weird things that you might see on an egg, there's often calcium deposits, which are just like little gray specks and things. No big deal. It's just that the egg chicken decided to put a little bit extra calcium on the shell there for whatever reason. And then also sometimes you can actually have like cracks in the shell, and that's from like the chicken jumping around, cracks the egg, but it's still inside the body. So the chicken actually will go back and put a little strip of calcium over top of that crack and heal it back up. So that's kind of why you'll see these like big pimples, you could kind of say, of like just little bits of calcium stuck on the shell. So there's really no real difference between your white and brown eggs. Some people try to say that one of them tastes better than the other. That's not necessarily just because of the color. That would really kind of go back to what those birds' environment was. A brown chicken tends to be more in a cage-free, and more suited anyways for a cage-free or outside kind of production. So if it tastes better, that's more likely just because of where it was raised, and it was more likely to be raised in those kind of situations, rather where the white layer is more suited for a cage production, and so it may not taste as well just because of its environment being in the cages. So fun facts here. One big advantage, I guess you could say, to a brown egg: whenever you hard boil it and peel it off, you know that you have all the shell removed because it's brown and it stands out on that white egg. And then another fun fact, there is actually blue or like green eggs out there. They come from these birds called Americanas or Aracanas or Easter eggers. I don't really know too much about those. They're not very common, but fun little fact out there if you wanted to look it up on the internet. And we'll probably try to put some pictures on here on this video so you can see what we're talking about. But have a good one.